Gladiator 2 is by far the biggest historical movie release of 2024, and the sequel film has gotten off to a strong start, being both critically and commercially well received during its opening week. I am sure many viewers of this channel will have already watched Gladiator 2 and may be searching for films that are similar to this epic sequel, and in this list I will give you my recommendations of the top 10 historical movies that I believe are reminiscent of Gladiator 2 and by extension Gladiator in one form or another. But before we begin, don't forget, if you love anything to do with historical movies and historical TV shows, then subscribe to my channel, HistorySpark. At number 10 is The Fall of the Roman Empire, the classic 1964 sword and sandal film which looked at the corruption and politics present within the Roman Empire during the reign of Commodus and how these events started the decline of the Roman Empire and the downfall of all its glory. Both Gladiator and Gladiator 2 had sadistic emperors at the heart of their film, and The Fall of the Roman Empire is no different, with us getting a more realistic and different perspective on the Roman Emperor Commodus. And this film highlights what makes the classic era of historical films so endearing even to this day, as the movie relies solely on amazing acting by the entire cast and a strong plot to carry the movie forward, as there is no CGI or over-the-top action in this film to distract viewers from weaker elements of the movie. There are a few shortcomings in The Fall of the Roman Empire in terms of pacing and character motivations, but nearly 40 years later, there is a reason that Fall of the Roman Empire is still remembered as one of the best historical films ever created, and you owe it to yourself to find out why that is. At number 9 on this list, it is The Northman, the newest and arguably the best mainstream Viking-based historical film ever released. The Northman is primarily a revenge tale, and it tells the story of Prince Amleth and his cunning plan to defeat his uncle who killed his father and forced Prince Amleth to flee from his home when he was a child. The Northman starts off as a grand spectacle and slowly turns into a slow and snail-paced story about Prince Amleth slowly trying to break down his uncle's power and influence from the inside. The story and pacing are definitely the two weakest elements of this film, and The Northman drags on for far too long. But the stellar acting of Alexander Skarsgård and the cinematography and production quality of the film are definitely where this movie shines. The Northman is a simple enough film with some oddly confusing Viking mythology tidbits sprinkled in, that is, although flawed, still one of the best depictions of Viking society we have ever seen on the big screen so far. And if you would like to watch another journey of a royal prince being sold into slavery and slowly planning his revenge against his enemies, then you will really enjoy The Northman. At number 8 is Ben-Hur, the classic 1959 epic film which takes place in 1st century Jerusalem, where a Jewish prince is betrayed and put into slavery by a Roman, and the rest of the plot follows his struggle to regain his freedom and eventually be able to exact his revenge against those who have betrayed him. Ben-Hur is one of those classic films that has withstood the test of time, and it is a movie that fans of the genre love to continuously revisit and watch on a regular basis. The film brings ancient Roman history to life in a very interesting way, and even if graphically Ben-Hur might look a bit outdated, it's still a great film for any fan of ancient history and ancient Roman history in particular. At number 7, it is The Eagle, a historical drama based on the book The Eagle of the Ninth by Rosemary Sutcliffe. And this historical film tells the story of centurion Marcus Flavius Aquila, a Roman soldier who is determined to restore his family's honor after his father, who was one of the leaders of the 9th Legion, disappears alongside the Eagle standard of the Legion as well. This film stars Channing Tatum, and he's a bit lackluster in this film to be honest, but his co-star Jamie Bell is excellent as the slave Esca. The Eagle has a very interesting plot with a great first act in particular, pretty good pacing throughout, and some great set pieces as well. The second and third act of this film though are not nearly as strong as the beginning of this movie was, but all in all, if you enjoy movies about Roman history, you will definitely enjoy The Eagle. At number 6, it is Braveheart, a movie that is loved by all viewers whether they are fans of historical films or not, and just like Gladiator and Gladiator 2, Braveheart is more focused on telling an epic and engaging story rather than historical accuracy, So, if you enjoyed the plot of Gladiator 2, you'll find Braveheart to be even more engrossing. Braveheart follows the life of William Wallace during the events of the First War of Scottish Independence, and how William Wallace grew to become a legendary figure in Scotland. Braveheart benefits from amazing acting by Mel Gibson, who does a fantastic job of portraying William Wallace, and the storyline is also engaging and very easy to follow. However, as has been already discussed in many forums and reviews and articles online, Braveheart is infamous for its historical inaccuracies even by Hollywood standards. But I feel like this negative stereotype has actually helped Braveheart maintain its popularity even to this day. Braveheart is definitely a must-watch film for any fan of medieval or historical films, as the story about Scottish independence is a truly magnificent watch. The fifth spot on this list goes to the award-winning 1960s classic film Spartacus, which depicts the life of Spartacus from a lowly slave and gladiator to one of Rome's most feared enemies. This film has spectacular acting, battle scenes, and storytelling, making it for a very easily enjoyable and engaging watch for all audiences. All of the cast in this film are excellent, with many of them winning awards for their performances, such as Kirk Douglas and Peter Ustinov. Spartacus also withstands the test of time, as this film is still used as a blueprint on how to depict large battle scenes and political maneuverings of a complex entity like the Roman Republic effectively on the big screen. There are some minor issues in pacing and character motivations of some of the antagonists, but these issues are minute and do not really deter the viewer from being engrossed in Spartacus. So if you're looking for a classic film which depicts the life of Spartacus in a simple but effective manner, then the 1960s Spartacus is my recommendation for you. At number 4, it is Pompeii, a historical disaster film set in the city of Pompeii in 79 AD, just days before the eruption of Mount Vesuvius and the destruction of the city. The film's main plot is focused around the development of the romantic relationship between a gladiator named Milo and a noblewoman named Cassia. All of this is taking place while obvious signs that something is not right with Mount Vesuvius are all being ignored. And this film has some decent gladiatorial battle scenes, and gladiator culture and lifestyle is a key part of this film. The acting of Kit Harington is decent here, but definitely not some of his best work, and the same could be said for the primary antagonist of this movie, portrayed by Keith Sutherland, who, again, puts in a fairly lackluster performance. But if you have any sort of interest in gladiators, the destruction of Pompeii, and just ancient Roman history in general, then Pompeii will be the perfect recommendation for you. The third spot on this list goes to Mongol, a biographical film which magnificently tells the story of Genghis Khan from his childhood to his rise as the warlord that finally unites all of Mongolia under his control. This movie does a great job of slowly building the story of Genghis Khan and his family, and it spends a surprisingly long amount of time delving into his troubled childhood and the huge number of obstacles and struggles Genghis Khan would have to endure before even becoming a minor warlord in Mongolia. Mongol has great acting, especially by Tadanobu Asano as Temujin, and he is definitely the standout performance for me in this film. My main critique with Mongol though is that the third act is very rushed and it depicts Temujin's rise to power far too quickly, but other than this minor critique, Mongol is definitely a film that will appeal to anyone that enjoyed Gladiator 2. The second spot on this list goes to Kingdom of Heaven, the Director's Cut by Ridley Scott. And this film follows a semi-fictionalized portrayal of the life of Balian of Ibulin, who was a crusader nobleman and the primary leader for the defense of the Christian-held Jerusalem during the siege of Jerusalem in 1187. The Director's Cut of Kingdom of Heaven is, in my opinion, the best work of Ridley Scott, and if you enjoyed the cinematography and directorial style of Gladiator 2, then you'll really enjoy Kingdom of Heaven, the Director's Cut. Aside from great directing and production quality, this film also has some A-list actors involved with the project, such as Orlando Bloom, Liam Neeson, and Eva Green, so the acting here is top tier, and the battle scenes are also amazing as well. Although this movie may not be very historically accurate, it does get a lot of things right, and the story about the defense of Jerusalem by a small Christian force against a massive Muslim army led by military genius Saladin, is a fantastic story to tell and have brought to the big screen. And I feel that Kingdom of Heaven is a very underrated film and perhaps the best movie ever created about the Crusades in general. At number 1, it is Gladiator, a movie which single-handedly revitalized critic and audience's interest in sword and sandal films. This film stars Russell Crowe as the primary character of the film, in which he has fallen from one of Rome's most respected generals to a lowly gladiator slave, all due to the political machinations of Emperor Commodus, played magnificently by Joaquin Phoenix. This film has amazing acting by all primary and secondary actors, a fascinating and engaging storyline, and some fantastic battle scenes and gladiatorial fights as well. There are a few issues with Gladiator which cannot be overlooked though, such as the movie is mostly historically inaccurate even by Hollywood standards, and the film overemphasizes action and fight sequences at the sacrifice of realism. However, if you are looking for a film which will make you feel like you have been transported back to ancient Rome and a movie which makes effective use of this historical backdrop, Gladiator is my top recommendation for you. So please let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this video and if there are any other films similar to Gladiator 2 that you think I may have missed out on. And as always, if you want to stay up to date with everything to do with historical movies and historical TV shows, then subscribe to my channel HistorySpark, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.